this time we are talking about one of the classic Doctor Who stories of all time. It featured the debut of three important things from the mythology of Doctor Who. It featured the debut of Sarah Jane Smith, as played by Elizabeth Sladen. It featured the debut of the Sontarans, who would later become a very big villain as the show continued. Stumbled a little bit there, but I mean, because I'm excited.
Carry on.
Last but not least, it featured the debut of an all-new title sequence, the bones of which would continue in the series for many years to come and be one of the defining title sequences of Doctor Who history. We're here to discuss the Time Meddler, the Time Warrior, the Time Meddler. Let's do it. Let's do Time Meddler
45. Oh, that was good. That was good. That was all right. We'll keep that one.
Yeah. That was lovely to not do the intro. So thank you, Jonathan.
Yeah.
So Paul's here, I'm here, and Jonathan's here, the editor of the Titan Comics Doctor Who range, and an increasing superstar interviewer as well.
Oh yes, yeah.
Gosh,
he'd be busy on that front, hadn't he?
Who was your favourite? Was it Herbie?
Probably Herbie. Well, you know, it's funny. There's some. Herbie was the one that answered the questions most honestly and didn't give me any back chat. So I think Herbie was the one I wanted to take home with me. And
who wouldn't? Who wouldn't want to take Herbie home with them?
So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's very exciting.
I mean, Gillian Anderson or Herbie, you know, take your pick.
Oh, Herbie. I mean, Gillian's lovely, but Herbie. My wife would object to Gillian Anderson if I were me home.
Yeah, you could get Herbie in a bit easier,
if she could put David Duchovny as Snell, maybe that would be good. But, yes.
So I was just going to say, whilst we're on the Third Doctor theme, I have a copy of this that I was very kindly
Geoff holds up a copy of the Titan Comics featuring the Third Doctor. The title is The Heralds of Destruction by Paul Cornell and Christopher Jones. And Hi-Fi? Does that say Hi-Fi down the bottom?
Hi-Fi, yes.
Hi-Fi would be the...
Hi-Fi.
Is that... It was the colorist, isn't it? The inker.
Hi-Fi is the colorist.
I'd love to go by the name of an audio product if I was famous.
Stephen Taylor's teddy bear in The Chase.
Hi-Fi. It's like it's kind of like Hello Kitty, isn't it? Except not Hello Kitty. It's like Hi-Fi. It's
nothing like Hello Kitty at all.
Well, no, it is, because if you were walking down the street and you saw Hello Kitty, what would you say? You'd have to say Hello Kitty. And if you're walking down the street and you saw Hi-Fi, you'd have to say Hi-Fi. No. Give us a high five. It could get very confusing in both ways. Imagine if you saw Hi-Fi arm in arm with Hello Kitty. What the blazes do you say then? Hey? This is the kind of thing that keeps me awake at night.
I've woken up.
Is everything all right, Bob?
No, it's not. Let's watch the telly.
We're going to do a comic episode of the podcast soon, aren't we, Paul?
Yeah, we figured this out about 5 minutes ago, actually.
That's Cobblers. We talked about it ages ago and haven't done anything on it. So that's what I'm going to look at for it.
Marvellous.
We'll tie that in with you, Jonathan. You can join us and we can discuss some
that'd be awesome.
Forthcoming comics that will be forthcome by the time we do that,
they
hopefully.
Will have forth been and gone.
Come and gone, I suspect, but we could discuss Doctor Who comics
yes.
hours and hours. That'd be wonderful.
That sounds fun.
Great.
Yay.
So today we're going to start taking a look at the Time Warrior, parts 1 and 2. We ran a poll quite some time ago now
we did.
to see what people would like us to take a look at. This was one of your favourites, isn't it, Jonathan? This was the winner, so we're going to start on this tonight. So fire up the episode on your preferred viewing system. I'm using the iPlayer, but other methods are available. And we'll do a 1, 2, 3 and hit play, shall we?
Okay.
All right, ready?
Are we going on 3?
We're going on 3 every time. 1.
Just like to make sure.
2. I'm going to sonic it in as well. 3.
Oh.
Diddly dum. Jonathan, you mentioned that time tunnel vortex thing.
Yes.
It is beautiful. I love this.
look at John Pertwee's body fly down the
amazing.
The vortex.
It is beautiful. What's this? It was colour scan or slit scan or something, wasn't it?
Slit scan, absolutely slit scan. Just really exciting,
Brilliant.
really new.
I love the sort of mirrory diamond effect.
Yeah.
It's kind of the technique that they used on 2001: A Space Odyssey for the Stargate sequence, wasn't it? But on a much lower budget.
Yes, absolutely. You're much lower budget, but just as effective.
Very effective.
Just as effective.
And this is David Dacre here, isn't it? Playing Irongron, who was quite a familiar face back in the day, and went on to play loads of stuff.
It's interesting. So I'm always slightly disappointed that this is how it starts, because I remember the Target novelisation starts with essentially a Star Wars movie.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
And it tells you so much about the Sontaran culture and the sort of who they are, why they're fighting, what the whole story is with the vent at the back of the head. It's a great opening to the episode. Yeah. I think it's really sad it starts like this, but nevertheless,
this is making me think of Sean Bean in Game of Thrones. One does simply not just watch the Time Warrior.
Going to be the Time Warrior. It's interesting because that first chapter in the novelisation of the Time Warrior, I believe, was written by Robert Holmes, and for many years that was the only bit of prose that we had from Robert Holmes. If that's actually true, I don't know. It could just be a fan fiction, legend, myth kind of thing. So let us know, dear fellow fans out there, if this is actually true or just some nonsense that somebody made up once and has stuck. But yeah, you're right. It goes into a lot of great stuff about the Sontarans, and yet when we see this for the first time, actually we're in a dark and dingy castle in somewhere. And
what sort of stuff does it say about the Sontarans, and does it explain the probic vent? The
what? What did you call me?
The butthole on the neck.
How very dare you?
No, he charges up on it as in the battle, and it's cool. I think they call it the burning when they put the thing in, and it's almost like a drug. He doesn't want to take it out.
No, really. Because they use that. Sorry, I was going to say it's used in War of the Sontarans, isn't it? Because they have a handy short period of getting high, I guess, when they're vulnerable.
Recharging. Yeah. It's how they kind of eat, isn't it? Because they're a clone race and they just don't eat food. They just get everything, pure energy, sort of blasted into them with all the stuff they need to get through the day. It's kind of like being on a cannula, I suppose, isn't it? But with everything fed through. Now, these, I've got to say as well, these spaceships, the Sontaran spaceships that look like giant golf balls, I just love the design on these.
Yes,
absolutely love it.
And that's the scout ship, because in the novelisation, he's in a much bigger ship.
Yes,
the little scout ship that he blasts off in. So, which then these become the de facto Sontaran ships.
And this is this is great. I think is this where he claims planet Earth in the name of the Sontaran Empire at some point and plants his flag, which is the best flag ever. I love it. It's just such, because he's building up to this brilliant moment, and he's like here amongst all these primitives and everything, and he's far the superior being, warlike race, and he's going to claim the Earth. And here it goes, the flag. You ready for this, Geoff? Irongron in his palace. Oh, there you go. Look at that. It's brilliant. I don't, whether it's intended or not, that for me sets up the kind of nonsense of the Sontarans as being full of grandiose, almost eloquent, militaristic strategists and blusterers, and yet they just have a piddly little flag that goes beep. You know what I mean?
Don't they reference this in War of the Sontarans as well?
Did they what with the flag?
Yeah. What's this Sontaran called? Is this Lynx here?
This is Lynx.
Yeah. He's mentioned, I'm sure.
Lynx is mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought there was something about the flag, or
maybe there is. I have to watch it again.
Because they've come back to honour him or something, haven't they? Anyway, it was a nice callback, I thought. I love I'm just looking at the helmet here. It's sort of medieval looking, isn't it? And which obviously fits with the setting. But I like that, you don't know what's under there for so long.
No. Well, imagine watching this for the first time as well. You know, Doctor Who fan from the last 10, 12 years or so, and you know, here's a new monster, and it's quite a striking design.
Yeah, you get the anticipation and wanting to know what it looks like, don't you?
It's a nice move as well that the Sontarans, at least in the first couple of stories, they're almost like a monster like the Master, as opposed to an army of creatures like the Daleks or the Cybermen. You know, I mean, ironically, being a clone race where there would be millions and millions of them, you kind of see one at a time.
Yeah.
But they're good. It gives him a character. It's actually in the novelisation. I don't think he's called it in the show, but in the novelisation, his name is Jingo Lynx.
Yes, you're right. Well done. Yeah, I was trying to think of his first name.
Cool.
So, Jonathan, what is it about this story that's made it one of your favourites?
Well, so here's the thing. I really like Pertwee's the Doctor.
Yeah.
And I like the Unit stories, but I really like the Pertwee stories when he gets away from Unit. And I kind of wish that Pertwee had another couple of seasons, maybe, where he could do the space travel or the history stuff, because I think he's so good in those. You know, he's in his dinner jacket, in his ruffled shirt, whether he's walking around Skaro or he's on sorry, not Skaro, walking around Spiridon, or whether he's you know, going back in time in this one. And you can tell as an actor he's really enjoying getting out of the Unit barracks for a bit, you know. So that's kind of, because it's sort of an anomaly almost, but you know, a historical like this. Pertwee doesn't have many historical stories, so that makes it stand out for me. And in a way, it sort of signals, you know, it's obviously we're getting now towards the end of his time as the Doctor, and it signals that moving away from Unit. You know, in a way, it's almost like an early Fourth Doctor type thing of that stepping away from the establishment format. So I love that, and I love the Sontarans. I think the Sontarans are one of the great creations. I think, especially the earlier ones where they're ridiculous, but they're still a threat. They're still really serious. I think there's some stories where they may be treated a bit too comically, you know.
That becomes a little bit too prevalent almost, doesn't it, in certain stories?
I think so, yeah.
I think the balance in these is quite nice. I think one of the nastiest Sontaran stories, at least in its concept, is the Sontaran experiment, which is really brutal. You know, that one had quite a big effect on me. I think the first time I saw this was actually when it was released on VHS in the 90s. I'd obviously read the book, the novelisation, quite a lot. But the first time I saw it was when I saw this it would have been the Virgin Megastore at Tottenham Court Road. And it was this, I think there was the Ark in space as well. Maybe the Daleks, I think, was around about the same sort of time. They might not be out together, but I'm pretty sure they were released within a batch or something, within a month or two of each other. But I just lapped this stuff up when it was suddenly available to watch at home. It was like, wow.
Well, I had a friend of mine's brother who was, about 3 years older than me. Was really into Doctor Who, and he had this amazing Doctor Who collection that, you know, and he had this weird thing at the time where, and we're talking going back to the sort of 80s now, late 80s, where he had a contact in Australia who would send VHS tapes because it was on TV, you know, it was on TV over there, and that was the only way to see it. So you'd get these third or fourth generation VHS tapes. I remember watching the Sea Devils once in one sitting, and it was, I'm still not quite right in the head from watching it with all the sort of the static and so forth and that music. But and so this was one I vividly remember watching, and it's weird because the late 80s was only 15 years earlier than that, I guess, or what is this, 74, 73, but. That seemed like ancient history. It seemed like absolute ancient history.
Oh, absolutely. It
seemed like so long ago. You know, the black and white episodes even were, you know, they felt so old. So seeing this, that you never had an inkling you'd be able to see it again. You know? There was the BBC didn't seem to want to repeat
No,
or
it
anything.
didn't.
You know?
No. And
That must have been that thing. We've talked a bit about this before, Paul. But you know, if you missed something back then, you know that may well have been it. You know, film in the cinema. If you didn't catch it, that was it, gone. You know, and it's sort of a bit mind-boggling to think of that these days when almost everything is
available on tap.
Yeah.
We're kind of talking over the entrance of Sarah Jane Smith here. Who would have known watching this that she'd become so legendary in the whole Doctor Who canon, if you like?
She's got a very tough act to follow. I mean, obviously Katie Manning was in it for a long time and was so very much loved. What
is it about Liz and Sarah Jane, do you think, that made her so popular?
That's a good question, isn't it? You go first, Jonathan.
I just think she puts her heart and soul into it. I think she's, you know, the scenes where she's running around or climbing things, she's doing it and she's there and she's got such a lovely relationship with the Doctor and she's, you know, the Doctor Who, I've always thought the key things in Doctor Who are the relationship between the Doctor and the companion or companions and the monsters. They're the key ingredients of Doctor Who, and the other stuff you can kind of fudge. You can have a poor story, but if the monster's good and the Doctor is really good, you can get away with it. But I think that's it. She's kind of she's a really good foil for both of the Doctors that she's initially with. You know, for Pertwee and Baker, she really does play well with them, which they're really lucky, frankly, because she could have been fantastic with Pertwee, and then it didn't gel with Tom Baker, but it just goes into the next level with Tom Baker, the relationship with the two of them. I always think back to when she leaves at the other end of her tenure, when the Doctor says, sort of, we're here at Hillview Road, South Croydon, which is figuratively just up the road from me, but there is no Hillview Road in South Croydon. And she just very quietly, she says, "That's my home," and it's just such a lovely moment, which I think almost, you know, you could imagine that being something one of the modern day companions with their connection to the earth and saying, "That's my home. That's my reality." You know, so yes. That's my theory.
When she came back in school reunion, what did you think then? You know, seeing her after all that time.
Well, I thought it was wonderful. I thought it was absolutely amazing because it was obviously linking the current show to the. You know, it was really nice to see that.
Building that bridge.
I thought she was brilliant in it. I mean, it was like she'd never been away. In fact, we watched it last week with my daughters, who were watching, you know, classic Doctor Who, and they're being ever so brave. They watched Tooth and Claw and they were terrified. But we watched it. Yeah, it only occurred to me about 20 minutes into school reunion. Of course, my youngest has just started at school, so the thought that the teachers are all vampires. But no, I thought she came back and I thought she was absolutely brilliant. And the amazing thing is she also had chemistry with David Tennant in it. And I just thought that was like, so I think she's one of those actors who, I don't think that's something you can necessarily fake. You can act it, but she just, I thought she was brilliant in it. I thought it was really good. And I was actually really pleased for Elizabeth Sladen as an actress that she got the gig of doing the Sarah Jane, and especially when we know what sadly happened a little bit later, I'm really pleased she got that second wind and that she got that adulation that she deserves all over again.
I think when I watched School Reunion, I knew, you know, who she was. I can't remember how much kind of classic Who I'd watched at that point, but you know, I knew who she was, and I knew, you know, it was a big deal, and it as itself is a fantastic episode. You know, there's a bit in it when Sarah Jane and Rose are having a bit of a laugh, and their sort of frosty relationship has warmed up, and then they're sort of taking the mick out of the Doctor a bit, and it's really nicely played between the two of them. And watching the episode again, you know, down the line, having seen more of Liz in action and stuff, actually, you know, it sort of hits a bit harder just how kind of special that is, that episode, and must have been for you know, fans like yourself at the time who knew her, you know, more. And yeah, like you just said, it was lovely that she got the chance to, you know, come back and then get her own show out of it, and you know, get that kind of.
We find a whole new generation of fans as well.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, my daughter Freya, I mean, she loved the Sarah Jane Adventures. She, you know, I haven't seen them all. I kind of popped in and caught maybe about half, maybe less than half. But you know, she's watched it all back to back a few times, and she was just the right sort of age for it as well. I think, was she 10 or 11-ish? I think. Might have been younger than that. She might have been 9 or 10, actually, thinking about it. It was when she first kind of got into Doctor Who, and she'd only watched Doctor Who with me, but with Sarah Jane Adventures, she'd watch it on her own because it was just a little bit kind of lighter, still kind of scary and everything else. I mean, some things terrified her, but, you know, it's just pitched exactly right for her and her generation. So she's, and it's wonderful that, as you said, Jonathan, Liz was there to kind of reap that reward of being such a wonderful actor and such a part of Doctor Who.
Do you think that each Doctor has, you know, like their iconic companion? Because it's funny, like I watch Pertwee with Katie Manning, and they're absolutely superb. And then I watch him with Liz Sladen, and they're absolutely superb. And then
That's the thing, isn't it?
I think, you know, they're almost like equally, you know, his iconic companion. And then I think about Tom Baker and with Liz, and they're brilliant. And then, you know, Leela, and they're also brilliant. And so, do you know what I mean? It's you think, oh yeah, Pertwee, it's Katie Manning, but actually Liz is equally as good. So sometimes I think, you know, a Doctor has, you know, a companion that is the one I always sort of picture them with, but then other times, other Doctors, you know, there's perhaps a bigger selection of them. So yeah, what are your thoughts? Do you think you know, a Doctor has a specific companion that's their best one?
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, I think the casting on Doctor Who over the years has been amazing. I mean, you know the story with Elizabeth Sladen, that they'd originally cast somebody else, and they were. And I think, I don't know if they did anything. They must have done some filming or some rehearsal and
April
thought,
Walker
no, we've made a mistake. April Walker, who was she's you can actually see her in action in many things, but the most famous thing is she's in, I think, the Germans episode of 40 Towers.
Yes.
And they decided she wasn't quite right, so they recast, and we got Elizabeth Sladen, which was a brave thing to do, because I believe other Doctor Who scholars may know better than I, but I believe they had to pay her for the season's work of, you know,
she didn't do it.
She wasn't doing it. But I think it was the right choice, and I think she herself acknowledges, you know, it was she was initially disappointed, but then, she realised it was for the best. And
I think she was last in her audition as well, wasn't she? I think, and because she'd been working late the night previous, and then got home, literally found a telephone note next to a telephone saying that Barry Letts had called, wanted her to audition, thought she was just going to be a sort of a one-part character in the story. And then when they got there, obviously auditioned her with Stephen Thorne, and then Jon Pertwee came in, and she did a piece with him, and he's like thumbs up behind her back to Barry Letts. It's like, she's the one, and that's like the kind of the green light to go with Liz. So he clearly, and I think as well, he kind of almost like mothered her on her first few days on set and on location here. But I think I've heard a story where there was one time when they were they in a pub or on set or something, and Jon Pertwee was introducing, and he introduced her as Katie, just accidentally, and then burst into tears because he loved being with Katie so much, and was still feeling the sort of pain of not working with her anymore, even despite how good Liz was. But
I've always felt that he personally really loved Katie, and even though he was great with Liz, there was something special there with Katie. It's funny you're talking about the April Walker there, and it just made me think of Dougray Scott. You know, he was cast as Wolverine, and he just started filming the first X-Men.
Oh.
And then I can't remember, he hurt himself or something, and he had to pull out. And then Hugh Jackman got the part, and you know, obviously that changed his entire life and his career, and he's still doing it now. And just it's funny, isn't it? Just something changes, and you know, the whole course of your life.
You were talking about Sean Bean earlier. I mean, he's obviously well known for playing Richard Sharp in the Sharp series on ITV, but it's Paul McGann. It was Paul McGann who was originally cast in that and started filming. And really? Paul, he broke his ankle, or he had some kind of, and whatever it was that happened, he couldn't continue filming. He had to go, be in hospital, have surgery and recuperation and everything else. So they cast Sean Bean literally at the last minute, and he was unknown back then. He wasn't anybody. So. And he kind of, that got him all the status and everything else. He was so good in it.
Yeah,
he's absolutely brilliant.
Sharp, when it went out, and fantastic. Reading
I love the Sharp stuff.
I haven't seen it in years.
I think on the plus side for Dougray Scott, though, he's not had to go to the gym and into
stay buff.
25 years. He's been allowed to age a bit.
She stayed away in the TARDIS.
I do wonder how. What does Dougray Scott think? Does he see Hugh Jackman and I hate him?
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, there's got to be an element of just
a little bit of regret or something.
Yeah.
And Michael J. Fox in Back to the Future was a late edition as well, I think, or someone else was cast. I can't remember who it was.
They recast the girlfriend as well, didn't they? In that,
did they?
For the second film, lots of people. Yeah, Back to the Future had a sort of crazy miscasting situation because you had. I just realised that guy looks like Anthony Ainley in
The King's Demons. Yeah, you're right. He does actually.
There needs to be some fan fiction with her. It's the master.
Jules Lestrom.
And of course, who else is in this? But
Jeremy Bullock.
Jeremy Bullock.
Yeah, Boba Fett. Yeah, Hal the Archer.
I love that she's and also running around in her suit here.
Oh yeah, and also Doc Cotton. Every time I see as Lady Eleanor, every time I see Lady and Eleanor, I see her spitting around with a fag out of her mouth or something, Well, I was telling his lordship the other day, and it was just, it was so bad. My God.
My Nick's a good boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have seen this one before. And
Careful,
I remember
Geoff. Don't talk over the moment. Is it here? Sorry, mate, go on. It's soon, I'm sure. The Doctor hiding behind a cart as the Sontaran. And the Doctor nods there. He knows what this creature is, right? He's seen it before. It takes off its helmet, turns the camera. Wow. The tongue. Look at that tongue. That's what does it, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the little hairs sort of coming off the face. Like nostril hairs, spider legs. Sorry, mate, I had to cut you off on that point because that is iconic. We cannot talk over that unless it's directly addressing what we're looking at. So the fans will thank me for this.
One of the best masks in the history of Doctor Who.
It's a mask within a mask, isn't it? Paul Lindsay as well, playing Lynx. He had a heart condition, didn't he? I don't know if they knew or he knew at the time, but it was, it was not the best thing for him to be doing either because. Well, we had Dan Starkey telling us what the newer masks were like to wear, so God knows what it's like with these old things, back in the day.
Yeah, he was saying that it sort of gets glued on all the different pieces. We'll just let this run into the next
episode, 10 seconds
here. And it, throughout the day, the glue starts to sort of melt and soften, so he ends up with a sliding Sontaran face, which it gives me an idea for a story, droopy face Sontarans come in, I was going to say about...
sorry, go on.
No, about Doc Cotton, it's funny seeing someone who, I never really watched Eastenders, but was so, known for that one role, to then see her earlier on doing something a bit different, and then I don't know how long she played Doc Cotton for, but
it's bleeding years, wasn't it? I think it was. Well, she was also in in the first Doctor Who serial back in the 60s, she played a cave woman, I think.
Really?
I'm pretty sure she did.
No way, really?
Yeah. Look it up.
Wow.
I'm sure of
look
it.
it up.
Oh,
If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong, but I don't think I am.
wow.
Dear listeners, I could be wrong. This is it. Look,
somebody-
they're furiously Googling it now.
Yeah, somebody will know.
Maybe I'm
Somebody will
misremembering.
know
I'm
this.
getting a little bit worried now. I'm sure she was. Go on, is she in there? June Brown, isn't it, her name?
Jim Brown, yeah.
Is she there in episode 2 or 3 or 4? It's not the first episode. It's all the caveman stuff after.
I'm
I noticed
looking.
a caveman wearing underpants in that episode.
I'm sure she was like the old wise woman or something.
But also, I think Sarah Jane Smith has a very real reaction. Like, this is a medieval reenactment. This is silly, which you would completely
Yeah.
do. She doesn't just accept. She's very well written. I think she's well conceived, and she's got, she's a journalist. She's got that sort of. She's a bit,
I'm
a
afraid,
bit more
Paul,
grown up.
you're
than
wrong. You're wrong.
Is it real? Am I really? Oh no!
Oh no!
No, that's so embarrassing. I don't think I am actually.
It's
Where are you
embarrassing for
looking,
you,
Geoff?
Google.
might have
You
just
could
left
be
it
right,
off as
actually.
TV.
Yeah, I've just realised it was
But she played Dot
Eileen
Cotton.
Way. Eileen Way in An Unearthly Child. I do
Eileen
beg your
Way.
pardon, but she looks very much like Dot Cotton. So maybe that was what it is.
She played Dot Cotton for 35 years, I think.
35
Wow.
years.
Yes.
School blimey. That's a job. That's a career, isn't it?
Well,
Really?
it is, isn't it? Because
Yeah, job for life almost.
Cigarettes.
my wife is a big Neighbours fan, and I think about some of the actors on there. They've played it for 20 or 30 years or whatever, and you think, like, is there any challenge in it for them at that point? And maybe.
Well, you wonder.
But
Yeah.
it's a secure job.
Yeah.
Fairly high profile, and
We know how fickle the acting world can be as well. You could be out of work for
you
years.
can't blame them for doing it.
Yeah.
And I guess they enjoy it. That guy looks like Sheriff of Nottingham, doesn't he? Rickman style.
David Dacre, yeah, it's the start. And you're right, every time I look at the other guy now, I keep looking at, I keep thinking, Jules Strom, the master.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not good.
I love Anthony Only. He's the greatest. Wow.
So, Jonathan, how many Sontarans do you have lurking behind you?
I thought I had one of each, but then some of them are just the same, so I don't know if they're variants or. But yeah, I've got a pretty complete set actually there with all the weapon. The only thing is the new series ones, their feet tend to drop off. So when you're moving them, I spent a lot of time on the floor with my hands and knees looking for these Sontaran feet.
What did you think of Strax, both of you? Because you mentioned earlier about Sontarans sort of being a little bit jokey, and that was, obviously the point of that character, but they really kind of.
Which one was
push-
Strax?
The one that kept
one in-
turning up with Matt Smith.
In the Paternoster game.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think Dan Starkey actually made that character a lot more personable and likable, I think. On the one dimension on the page, I think it sucks big time because I think it just goes purely for the comedic part.
Yeah.
And just and there is that kind of line between the comedy and the seriousness. It's the buffoonery of rampant militarism that Robert Holmes is satirizing in this story. But in the later stories, especially in when Strax is concerned, it just becomes a tool for comedy. That's entirely it. And I think the reason he kind of survives, in my head anyway, is purely down to Dan Starkey just having a ball with it and just playing it as much for the kind of reality or the weird reality of it as much as for the laughs.
Yeah, he's really good.
He is. He's brilliant. Yeah, but I think that character sucks. Big time. So
Yeah, it would have been nice to have introduced something new for an nav implant rather than an
Yeah,
established.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a massive fan of that whole Paternoster gang anyway. I love them all individually, and I like that, but it's just, I don't know, just something about it which just irritates the pants off me, like, ridiculously. I think they're all great actors, they're all great characters, but I just don't enjoy it, you know? I just don't, I hate it. I hate them. It's horrible.
Wow, there's a strong reaction there.
I know, but yeah, I love them also. It's just weird. It's this weird dichotomy in my head that I cannot reconcile at all. So
This is not the time to say I want to review the Paternoster Big Finish sets for the podcast, then,
no,
is it?
not really. Maybe that's it. I just don't like the stories. Actually, maybe that's. I love the characters, but maybe it's the stories that I just don't find interesting. Perhaps maybe that's the thing.
Well,
Maybe.
look at that guy. He's sort of like he's Sontaran-esque in his.
Well, yes.
his
Because
design.
he's made by the Sontaran out of Sontaran materials and things. So when
The
the
helmet is
story
very similar. And
when the storyline, well, say storyline for this originally came in, it was one of the working titles it had was the Automata, or at least that's what Robert Holmes kind of put in forward, right? So Terrence Dick said, or Robert Holmes had pitched in a story, and they rejected it. Terrence Dix and Barry Letts, but they said, okay, we do want you to write a story with us. So they sat down and developed this storyline or an idea. Robert Holmes went away. He didn't like storylining, so he found the whole process boring. So what he actually did was he put in a field report from from Field Marshal Links or whatever military designation he'd given him in his treatment, and sent it all in as a document by the ailing Links in his spaceship as he's dying, right? So he's recounting the whole of the story in the language and the bluster of a Sontaran. So that in itself kind of created the whole character and the bare bones of the story. And interestingly, one of the Doctor was described as being a Gallifrey Time Lord, because that's the other first thing about this story, right? Because you mentioned Jonathan, you mentioned Liz Sladen, the title sequence, and a Sontaran, but of course, I think it's in part 3. But this is the first mention we have of Gallifrey as being the name of the planet that the Doctor comes from. But in the original storyline, it was Gallifrey, just Galfrey. So, and that was purely just something that Rob Holmes just made up. You know,
which is brilliant to have something that is almost a throwaway.
I know, exactly.
A massive piece of the series history. You know, you could imagine.
no thought behind it, really.
Maybe in the later years of the show, there would be a fanfare at that point.
And
the beat Gold would be at full blast, you know. But
there'd be letters rearranging themselves and all sorts of weird nonsense.
But that's what I think. That is also what I think is, great about this period of Doctor Who for those first few years. They're not tied to continuity. They are literally making it up as you go along. I think the show is more interesting. Some franchises have a Bible and you have to really follow it. But I think even to this day, actually, Doctor Who is a pretty free.
It's quite loose and
obviously you can't make massive changes to it, but.
But sorry, the point I was going to make is that I think this robot is the only thing that survives in a way from the very from the first treatment that Robert Holmes did from the story that was originally rejected. So that's I got sidetracked by all kinds of exciting things along the way. There's young Jeremy.
It's good. I was just going to say, going back to just what you were saying about Strax. I think that there's something about Doctor Who that it is. Dare I say it, a program for young people? Dare I say it, a program for children? But that adults enjoy. But there's always a thing in your mind saying, "Make it go darker. I want this to be darker. I want this to be the darkest thing ever. Come on!" Well, it's like the Star Wars thing of The Empire Strikes Back is the darkest, or one of the darkest, or the darkest in the original Star Wars. But you can't have them all like that.
No, exactly. You've got to have a Phantom Menace or something. I think. Do you know? I think you're right, because I mean that was certainly where I was in my kind of late teens and 20s, when suddenly everything I did I seemed to take really, really seriously. And I like to think I kind of matured out through the other side of that. And I love the silly stories as much as I like the some of the dark and serious. I mean, Doctor Who can be dark, but it can't be too dark. It can't be Event Horizon. but it can take those themes and do something with it, just not in the same way. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to be an 18 rated film filled with absolute horror, but of course it taps into horror all the time. But then it also taps into the ridiculousness and the surreality and the satire and all the other things along the way, and it's one of the reasons I love it. And you're absolutely right, because each season can have those peaks and troughs between dark and light and dark and light, you know, outrageous comedy on one hand, a really serious ethical philosophical discussion on the other. You know, it can have serious character drama, and it can have archetypes, caricatures, and just run one cliche after another, and that variety is what gives it, you know, its energy. So if it's ever too much of one thing or another, then it stops being the heart of Doctor Who, I think.
Well, sometimes the ridiculous and the dark can be in the same
oh my god, yeah
episode. I mean, you know, you think of something like the Slitheen and these farting aliens. It's really dark. They're using people's skin.
It's a lot of death. Yeah,
there's always a lot of death in Doctor Who. There's there are people the Doctor doesn't save, and even worse, that the Doctor doesn't save but doesn't even know existed. You know,
and that's a really good example, actually, I think, of all those strands of Doctor Who kind of coming together, because it is literally right the edge of World War III. It's satire. You know, there's a massive element of satire going throughout. That's Russell T Davies just ripping the hell out of the entire governmental institution, and putting a nobody at the end of it, Harriet Jones, as the new Prime Minister, isn't it? I think she kind of makes way up there. But and you've also got it's almost like a Doctor Strangelove moment, an atom bomb falling on the house directly on number 10 Downing Street, and then the box kind of spinning up out of nowhere. This spaceship wings slicing through Big Ben. It's just glorious Doctor Who fun. And I think, do you know, actually, I think that was the moment when the new series, I thought, they've got it. You know what I mean? Well, whatever that thing is that I enjoyed in Doctor Who, it's all here in this ridiculous story where we've got rubber monsters with big flappy claws chasing people up and down the corridors of government.
It's something only Doctor Who can do. Definitely.
Absolute lunacy.
I was just going to...
guns and weapons that they really shouldn't have in this dingy old castle.
I was just going to read some comments that we had on Twitter in response to what
we got a few, didn't we?
Thoughts on this, So Bertie Odell says, love this story, have great nostalgia about seeing this on VHS around the late 80s, question mark. Lynx is a superb villain, probably the best of the classic Sontarans, just a wonderful romp with plenty of action for Perters, and of course lovely Sarah Jane's debut, an underrated classic. And then George Cairns says, I saw Lynx take his hat off on first broadcast. I was just a kid. I couldn't wait a whole week to see what happened next. Doctor Who was the most exciting thing on telly in the 70s. And Giltster, Dennis says, loves this story between Sarah Jane's intro, Lynx, and the historical setting. It's one of my favourite Third Doctor stories. So it's quite a bit of love for it there. Did you post on Facebook as well, Paul?
I did. I'm not sure we've had any response, and I have a quick butcher's.
Honestly,
just talking about the historical thing, because this is obviously the first historical since, I think, probably the Faceless ones, but it's not a pure historical, right? Robert Holmes wasn't into that whole let's teach the kids about, you know, the figures of history. I think he only agreed to do this partly on the understanding that it wouldn't have anybody famous from history in it, and he'd do an alien, you know. So,
which is it's kind of funny with the original run of Doctor Who, because from 2005 on there would always be every season Doctor Who meets Shakespeare, Doctor Who meets Charles Dickens.
Yeah.
But actually, the original sort of Doctor Who, it was very infrequent that he would actually meet. You know, he just misses Leonardo da Vinci, or he doesn't seem to. He talks about knowing all these famous people, but yes, is he making it up?
We did have a couple of comments on Facebook from Eleanor Jody Alazewski. Is that how you pronounce it? Well done, thanks.
Alazewski. I apologise for Geoff's sheer inability to pronounce anything.
She writes, "Is this Doctor? That's how you say it, isn't it? Doctor?
Doctor!
Is this...
Doctor!
is this doctor a long-shanked rascal with a mighty nose?
Yes.
That is how he would appear to your eyes. As she says, I only just watched it last week again. Absolutely love it. First appearance of Sarah Jane, first appearance of Mr. Potato Heads, new titles, and as a medieval history nerd, it's right up my alley. Plus, Bob Holmes is absolutely on fire.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, right up your keep or something. I was thinking some suitably castle-like metaphor rather than alley, but yeah, I don't know castles that well. Moat.
Your
Yeah, well done. That'll do. Drawbridge. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Thanks, sir. Yeah. I should maybe think. Yeah, Doctor. So DOK-TOR.
Doctor.
Right. So that, if I'm not mistaken, is how the Doctor is referenced in, not in the novelisation for this, but in the novelisation of the Invasion of Time. For some reason, the big is it store in that one. So in Terrence Dix's novelisation, it's always Doctor, like DOK-TOR.
That's how all baddies say it in the comics, and it's always
with a K. Yeah.
Tor.
Well,
It's two words.
Yeah.
Hello, I am Doctor.
I am I'm the Doctor.
It's the thing that's missing from modern day Doctor Who.
Yeah,
I think we could have done with a few, Doctor.
Yeah.
Doctor. Oh, and you can't stop saying it once you do it.
No, it's addictive. Addictive.
But
Here's the long shot.
Can,
now, this is this is a good confrontation, I think, between Lynx and the Doctor. I mean, we talked right through the storyline for this, haven't we? So we got scientists who have been kidnapped and sent back in time purely so that Lynx can have his ship repaired and take off and call in the army. I think it's something like that, isn't it?
Oh, I've got a question.
Go on, then.
Which Lynx deodorant do you think Lynx likes best?
Oh my God, well that was worth it, wasn't it? Smelly one.
I don't know what
to say to that, to be honest,
mate.
They
still sell Lynx deodorant, is the question.
Do they?
Dude, it's everywhere. I was in Boots last week. Their entire bloody wall of this stuff. It was crazy.
In my day, you used to have Africa, and a handful of others. Now you've got ice, cherry. You've got all sorts of stuff. My son, he's just started wearing it, and so we.
There you go, Gallifrey. It's mentioned here. It's episode 2, not episode 3. There you go. I thought it was part 3. They just said it. Geoff's
never mind
talking
that
about
bit of Doctor Who history. I want to know if Geoff's son is his. Don't worry, he'll grow out of it.
Well, the whole point of a commentary, Paul, is to talk.
Comment on the story.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Lynx.
If you want to hear
shower gel and stuff.
Gallifrey uninterrupted, then you can watch a game.
Wow. It's a fantastic mask.
It's brilliant, isn't it? It's really, really good. I mean, actually, there's a lot of good masks in this era, wasn't there? We had the Draconians as well, just the previous season, actually. A couple of stories back.
We always preferred to work with the eyes and the mouth. There was that great clip of him where he's walking along with the Draconian and he says, the eyes can be seen and the mouth can be seen. He prefers to work on that. You can tell he really enjoys that. And that kind of goes back to the Sontarans being more of a villain and less than a horde of aliens or whatever coming in. It's
when you can see the eyes and the features more there, it keeps the humanity to it, obviously, and I think it makes it a bit more relatable. I always remember, people talking about the Green Goblin in the first Spider-Man film and what a mistake it was to not show Willem Dafoe's face properly in it.
Given that he's so expressive.
Well, that too, which is why in No Way Home they trashed the mask pretty quickly so he couldn't wear it, which I think was the right move for it.
But I think the mask in those films, it has its own personality, doesn't it? At least in its head, and so we get it's really expressive as Norman. I was going to say Norman Osgood. What's his name?
Norman Osborn.
Osborn, not Osgood. Norman Osborn. But then as soon as the mask starts talking to him, he just becomes this absolute demon. Taken over by that. I love that. I thought that was great, but clearly it went over some people's heads completely. Then, so they dumbed it down.
It's just that in the comic the mask is.
I know.
It moves the face.
I get it. It's maybe one of those things where the movie and the comic should they be exactly identical to each other, or should
No,
each have
I
a
don't
life of
think
its
they
own?
necessarily should be, but I'm not. I like the design of the mask, but I think it was a shame that it wasn't.
It's very of its time, I think, and
Yeah.
maybe it didn't last or wasn't as future-proof as.
Yes. Meanwhile, back with Doctor
Sorry,
Who.
yeah.
With Miss Fantastic John. I tell you one thing, John Pertwee really does
Yeah.
specialise in. It's being tied to a chair and
Yes.
struggling acting.
Oh,
He's
his
great
his
at that.
face when he does that is absolutely brilliant.
He's really. He's very good at that.
I tell you what, this Jeremy Bullitt fella's very tall, isn't he? Standing next to Liz Sladen there, he's towered over her.
Well, he's a pretty big guy.
Big guy.
Jeremy. Good hair as well. Look at that.
Great hair,
Wow.
lovely hair, beautiful hair.
Talking
Probably
of
washes
which,
it with
look at
Lynx.
No, Lynx is a spray, not a liquid.
Shower gel as well.
That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paul's got 6 bottles.
There we are.
I do. I've got a giant mega-sized tub that I've had since 1999.
I think we know what Geoff's son's getting for Father Christmas next year.
Oh, do you know what? I love this guy as well, Professor Rubish. We haven't really talked about him, and he's so central to this story, and it's such a wonderfully comic and yet sort of.
God, that's who he looks like.
What?
Basil Exposition.
I have no idea what you're talking
don't know who that
about. It's
is?
a fast show thing again.
No. It's Austin Powers,
Oh,
which is also quite
Mate,
Pertwee,
can
actually.
we talk about Doctor Who?
I think
That's a
Doctor Who-
difficult thing to ask, but seriously.
I make the observation. I think that there was certainly in this period of Doctor Who, there were an awful lot of absent-minded professors
There
who
were.
were not aware of what was going on. Like they would walk through the story like they had a sort of got a serious head injury and be sort of baffled. Oh, nice big battle sequence here. Look at this.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh, look, what's John? What's the Doctor just thrown a wash basket across the?
This is the other thing about Pertwee, isn't he? As a man of action, taking them all on.
Oh no, he's just fallen over for
Some
no
stunts
reason.
here.
Fabulous. Oh
is this,
wow! What a cliffhanger.
What was his name? Terry. Is it Terry Walsh, stuntman at
Terry
Guinness?
Walsh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I presume he was. Yeah, he was Pertwee's stunt double, I think.
In the
Blood
long
axe,
shot,
what a
obviously,
name.
now doing all this stuff.
It's a great.
It's a lot of running around, isn't
I
it?
wonder if they choreographed that or if they just made it all up.
No, they'd have done some sort of choreography for it. Probably when everyone else was having their tea. Wow.
Wow.
What a cliff! I mean, it's not as good a cliffhanger as the end of part 1 for sure, but Ingron raising his big axe. Is it Ingron? Blood? Yeah, Ingron, isn't it? Yeah. Also, I meant to just double check because I'm pretty sure.
Jonathan, do you have one of these?
I do.
Very saucy.
I do. In fact, I've got 2. I've got the original. Not the original, obviously, but my daughter has commandeered it and uses it to run around the house with it. And then I've got the deluxe. It's my favourite Sonic. That I love it.
Yeah, it's
Brilliant.
nice. Yeah.
A lot of fun.
Very
Playing
satisfying.
out there to the sounds of sonic screwdrivers whilst watching the reverse slit scan technique of the end credit sequence of that wonderful time tunnel. So, are we gonna come back for part 3 and 4 next time?
Yes, we'll have to. Let's see if we can try and do that next week.
Well, we need to find out what happens to the Doctor.
do.
As
We
far
can't
as we
just
know,
leave it on a cliffhanger.
He's been sliced to death by iron rods.
Yeah, whilst having fallen in some straw. I don't know. So,
That's where Wurzel Gummidge came from.
so, thoughts on these 2 parts then? Round the table, what do we think? I mean, obviously we love it, but what really stands out for us, you think, in short? John, start with you. Oh, Geoff, even go on.
Oh, Geoff, go on, Geoff.
I like the the sort of medieval setting mixed in with the sci-fi element, and it's quite Robin Hood actually in a way, isn't it? With all the castles and the bows and arrows and stuff like that, and sometimes they're just what a great villain. I just particularly like Pertwee, and obviously this episode has got a lot of firsts that we've been talking about. Yeah, it's great. I really enjoy it.
Jonathan?
Well, do you know what? It occurred to me actually when we were watching it. it's a really good season opener.
Yeah.
It's, castles. Everyone loves a castle. Castles and sort of sword fights, and it's almost like a Russell T Davies type thing of just throw everything into the first one and get everyone watching. Which is obviously quite rightfully so. You wouldn't want to start with Monster Pelodon or even Invasion of the Dinosaurs, but to start with that, I think was a really, really, that was a good start, and we got to witness the birth of an iconic monster. So,
absolutely, yeah. For me, I think it seems to have a kind of freshness and a new dynamic. Whether it's just a new dynamic of having a new season and a new opening, and all of that sort of thing, but it just feels like, every time Doctor Who reinvents itself, this feels like a new start again. Even though it's Pertwee's final season, it feels fresh, it feels exciting, all of that. And it just reminds me, when I feel that, this is why I love watching Doctor Who so much, that constant energy and reinvention. Brilliant. Love it. So we're a big thumbs up on the first two episodes of The Time Warrior. Join us again for when we talk about...
Do you want to do Time Space Visualizer?
Yeah, why not? Let's do that. I thought I was going to go to bed, but no, we're doing this, ladies and gentlemen. Hang on to your hats, because here it comes. Are you ready for
the Time Space Visualizer?
There you go. Have you heard that before, Jonathan? Huh? It's
no,
only a feature, mate.
What just happened? I just thought that was just me.
Tell them about it, Geoff.
This is our little section of the podcast where we talk about something that we have watched, played, read, or interacted with in the last week.
That isn't Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Probably. It could be, but...
Why else do you think? Why don't you spill it, Paul?
Me? Oh well, mine's quite easy actually, because for the last couple of weeks I've been revisiting series 1 of Blake 7, which I've watched like tons of times, over and over and over since forever. But it's the first time I've watched it on Blu-ray. I bought a Blu-ray last year when it was launched, and it's sat on my shelf for almost a year now. Series 2 is on its way, so I thought, come on, let's do 1 and 2 closely back to back. And I've been sticking my little comments and screen grabs onto Blue Sky, because I'm not into Twitter except to kick off about presidential campaigns and various movements towards fascism and stuff like that. So all my culty stuff is on Blue Sky, so do pop along, find me there. I'm Dr. Oho, as you know, and I've been tweeting, I've been posting all about Blake 7 as I watch it episode by episode, and I love it. It's brilliant.
Excellent.
Very good.
That's me.
Very good.
What about yous guys? Huh? What you been doing,
Jonathan?
Well, I don't know if it fits into the Time Space Visualizer, but I attended the opening of a very good art exhibition.
that qualifies.
Which was that qualified good. So the Museum of Brands in London have got an amazing Jerry Anderson exhibition at the moment, which is memorabilia that is from Thunderbird, Space 1999, UFO, Captain Scarlet, Stingray, and all the ones I've forgotten about. They're just everything. Terrorhawks, of course, the best one. Everyone loves John. And much to my shock, so it's curated by a guy called Malcolm Garrett. Malcolm is one of the top sleeve designers, or one of the top designers, but one of the top sleeve designers. He worked lots with Duran Duran and a band called Magazine, and lots of various things for various people. Really talented guy, but like all talented people, his real love is Anderson. So he's curated that. It's a lot of it is his collection. I had some spare Anderson stuff in my garage, which I gave him as a present at one point, and he was very kind and said, thank you very much. Please come and have a look at the exhibition. And so there were my old
Brilliant.
Anderson magazines are on display. So it's absolutely amazing. It's such a good place, the Museum of Brands. So if anyone's nearby, check it out.
And that's on till next year, I think, isn't it? Is it February, March? So it's on for quite a while, isn't it?
Possibly, yeah. Check it out online before you go. But it's actually really interesting place otherwise, because they've got the history of brands, from way back when to present day. And once you hit the 70s and the 80s, there's lots of Doctor Who radio times and all the
That's
good
what
Doctor.
we
It all
like.
goes back to Doctor Who. I'm so sorry, but yeah, there's all that kind of stuff.
Brilliant.
Kojak annuals and things, whatever. So
Wow.
So yeah, well worth a look.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, you sent us some
Geoff.
pictures from that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Not a huge amount for me. I've been working a lot of evenings lately, but took the kids to meet author illustrator Liz Pichon at the weekend. She was doing a signing in town for her new Tom Gates book. The kids love Tom Gates. Have you seen that before, Jonathan?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, it's really good. It's basically stories of some, Tom Gates, a school kid and his mates, but she illustrates all of it. So, there'll be a picture in, the middle of a page, and the words will go round it and stuff, and it's all quite intricately laid out.
Sounds nice.
And we had the theatre tickets booked, and I saw the poster in Waterstone saying she was signing the new book, and it was at the same time as the theatre show. And I thought, well, that's stupid, isn't it? And I emailed the website and for her, and sort of said, I don't suppose you'll be at the theatre, will you? Or, will you be hanging around for a little bit? Could we come and, get the thing signed? And her agent wrote back and said, we didn't know that the theatre show was happening in the Horsham on the same day. And I thought, does these departments not talk to each other?
Don't be silly.
And then I went into Waterstones 2 days later at work, and they said, glad you came back in. I want to tell you Liz Pichon's thing has been moved forward, so you'll be able to come to it now. So I was like, well, I did send an email, and I'm not saying it's because of that, but it's funny that they changed the times after I sent an email, isn't it? So they had a midday... well, anyway, we enjoyed it, so there.
That sounds fun. That's good.
Lovely. Right.
Wow.
Well, let's try to get back to do this next week and finish off the Time Warrior.
Yes.
When does the medal come into it? Is he not interested?
On that note, see you next time, Doctor Who fans.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye for now.
Bye.